Welcome to a 1 versus 1 between Jill here in red with hovercrafts and an engineer commander going up against an amphibot factory and an engineer commander. Jill requested this replay because they want to know how to fight amphibots, and amphibots. It's kind of a defensive matchups. Like daggers have low DPS, so they struggle a bit against Lotus turrets. While on the other hand, ducks are pretty slow with only 93 speeds, so the daggers are really fast and can be where they need to be with 144 speeds, while the ducks struggle to keep up with the dagger. So you really wanna choose the engagements you take with the daggers. Daggers are like scout raiders with good alpha damage, so if you have a lot of them, you can easily run down a Lotus turret with no losses, and they have a decent amount of health as well with 300. So, but they're kind of expensive, while ducks cost the same, have more HP and more DPS. But yeah, ducks also have kinda low DPS, so they kinda struggle to kill Lotus turrets as well. So you probably want to go decently defensive in this matchup, make more quills when you see the enemy is going for amphibots, and try to balance like your production of daggers and Lotus turrets to counter the ducks. And then just try to be more greedy with your expansion, because quills are fast, they're very fast, they're almost as fast as ducks, so if you just keep track of them, you shouldn't even lose a quill to ducks, because ducks are so slow and quills are so fast. So yeah, you should have been, like for example, now the enemy has 3 ducks in this place and you're trying to raid here. Yeah, there's not much raid here with Lotus turret and commander here and ducks coming here, so you could try to go around, but that enemy has time to make more ducks. So yeah, I would probably keep these in defense instead and make extra quills instead, and just try to keep track of the enemy. Like, you damage some ducks, you lose dagger, not a big issue, but yeah, it's hard to get actually anything done with these daggers, because even if the enemy has 2 or 3 ducks there, they're gonna basically counter your daggers, and if you waste some shots shooting at the metal extractors, yeah, you're not gonna shoot at the ducks, so it's hard to actually raid if the enemy has some raiders to defend against with their daggers. So instead I would probably try to like keep tabs on them, force a few units home. If you can spare the attention, just have 1 or 2 circling around trying to keep these ducks busy. Meanwhile, instead you're not paying attention here and you're gonna lose this quill here. So yeah, you're not, and you're also making maze. I consider that a mistake. And you're also losing this quill. You react too lately and the quill goes down, and you don't finish the Lotus turret in time. So if you have more quills, you can prioritize production of Lotus turrets and get them up in time, and have like scouting incoming ducks. So yeah, it's like when you are the hover player, you should have the initiative. You should always be counteracting enemy movements and trying to be greedy with your expansion. Meanwhile, you only made 2 quills so far, and you made a maze here. So you're kind of, I mean, you're keeping decently even on economy here, but you're starting to fall behind, and you made too little energy, and your energy stalling a bit. And I don't like mace in this matchup. Like, yeah, it can kill ducks, but scalpels are cheaper and they can also kill ducks. They're a bit more easily around, but ducks are still relatively slow, so if you have some dagger sound, they still struggle to get the scalpels. And mace has like, yeah. Meanwhile, you're losing these units to an archer. Yeah, you're not getting anything done there. You finally clean up those, but you spent a lot of resources. So I don't like mace in this matchup. Like, if you look at the composition, like boys counter mace hard. Scallops are loses to mace, but scallops are generally not good in this matchup. Bulkheads, maces are decent against them, but you gotta get in. It's like an all or nothing thing. If you get in, you have enough units to kill it. Oh, you actually get a max there, so that's something. Like, if you have the attention span to keep just a few daggers running around in the back like this, yeah, you can get some work done. Absolutely, and you can avoid losing them. Here you lose a few units killing. You could maybe kill the commander, but it's a bit risky. Yeah, you could probably kill it, but instead you're gonna try to save your own commander here. And your commander is going to be a bit out of position here. Now it's not in range of the enemy when they come into attack. You should really be in range so the Youngs don't kill the Lotus turret here, so I had the DPS of the commander as well. And you can just start making another Lotus turret if you're afraid of boys and stuff like that. Yeah, start making more Lotus turrets a bit earlier. So your commander, it was just a bit too far away for no good reason. Like ducks wouldn't have been able to get you down, and you had some daggers here. You could have started building a Lotus turret earlier. So yeah, that's yeah, you could have defended that more easily. So yeah, I prefer to usually go for a dagger and scalpel combo, because scalpels are about even with boys, and they can also like deal decently with bulkheads. Dodge their shots somewhat, but yeah, they're kind of even, so you can also have daggers to destruct the bulkheads. It depends on if the enemy has archers or scallops or ducks to protect them and limpets or not. So usually I would recommend a dagger scalpel combo. I think claymore is kind of overkill. Like if the enemy has pure duck, yeah, sure, you can like trade with the ducks and force the ducks to spread out. But usually you want to just ball up your daggers and run amok on the sides where the enemy has less forces, and try to outmaneuver and outmass the enemy where you can with the daggers and take good trades. And then the claymore is mostly just gonna slow you down, and the ducks can just move back into defense range or something to avoid taking that much damage. So yeah, so far you're a bit behind here. And you can see it's annoying to fight the boys. If you lose line of sight on the boys, you also don't hit it with the scalpels. But yeah, when you have short range units like maces and claymores in the front, yeah, you're gonna struggle to deal. You're gonna struggle to deal with the boys because they outrange you. The range is similar between these units, so yeah, 440 versus 450 Elmo is pretty much the same, and you might dodge a few shots with the scalpels. Like the boys will miss quite a bit, and you can also have the daggers distracting the boys. So yeah, yeah. So it's hard to take a good engagement here again. So you get a shot in. So if you had just more scalpels here, I think you would do much better here. And the enemy is choosing to go for bulkhead spam here, I think, which is a decent choice. They have a good position on the map, decent enough spread out defense. They're getting ahead, so if you're ahead, bulkheads are pretty good against hovers, because scalpels, yeah, they can trade evenly. If you go in, you have to really go in well with mace. Halberds, I mean, you could if the bulkheads are alone, but they still have a lot of HP. And here you found the enemy commander out of position, and you're just gonna be able to get it. But you pay a decent, that's like 1,000 metal for a commander, so it's a decently even trade. Like if you also, another unit to consider is Lance. Lance is decently good. Like yeah, it takes a while to pay off, but yeah, it's pretty easy to keep alive if you just keep it behind your scalpels and maces or daggers, or behind Lotus turrets. It's pretty easy to keep alive. Meanwhile, if you don't have enough maces, you're gonna struggle to get in range and actually do damage with your mace if you fall behind like this. So a Lance can keep up the attrition against boys and bulkheads alright, and you can even snipe a commander in a forward position like this. So yeah, you can see here, you can skirmish with scalpels against like boys and bulkheads. But yeah, when the enemy has a bigger arm here, I think. Yeah, let's like 2,000 values, so it's a bit hard to rush down. If you get them from all sides, sure, that's a decent enough choice. Yeah, you can see here that the bulkheads are missing quite a bit, but you're going in. You're getting decent damage on with the maces, but you're a bit distracted. It's an all or nothing thing if you really want to go in here. You can also repair the maces. Yeah, but overall, it's not that good of a trade. Would you have done better if it was scalpels? Probably. But now you're also starting to 40 build behind. I think you're accessing metal actually here. Yeah, you're accessing quite a bit of metal, so that's a bit bad. You haven't been managing your economy that well this game. So if you look here, now you're starting to get pushed back here, because the enemy has better economy here. Yeah. you can see, yeah, that boys tend to miss quite a bit. Uh, Meanwhile, they slow down the maces and basically counter the maces pretty well. Yeah, your commander is here. Stingers are somewhat they're alright against boys if you have something to distract them in front, like maces or scalpels or daggers or something. Yeah. So going for lance early is alright, especially have like a commander and stinger to bring down like here on a position like this. It's definitely a choice you can do, especially on an open map like this. The thing with lances, they're about even against grizzlies. So if you can just keep the enemy down and spot the grizzlies, you can keep damaging the grizzly and force it back with one lace. If you had two laces, yeah, it's gets pretty risky for a grizzly to go around and do their business. But if you go for too many lances before you have spotted like grizzlies or stuff, yeah, the enemy could go for air units and start bombing your lances, which could be a pretty bad switch if you rely too much on lances. An air switch that you're not prepared for is pretty bad. Yeah. So you should definitely, but you can also morph a sparrow pretty well to scout out the enemy and keep track of the enemy grizzlies and fire at them accurately with the lance. So it's definitely a thing you can do, and it's pretty hard for like if you have a sparrow and lances, yeah, the enemy's gonna struggle. Bolas in this matchup is fine. It's like I usually prefer dagger for the speed. Adding a bolas can be fine. I usually don't like it too much because it slows down the dagger ball, and they trade about evenly with ducks. It's like ducks have somewhat of alpha damage, so before you actually benefit from the bolas, you will slow them down. So, and they don't have that much more range than ducks. I don't like them too much in this matchup. I prefer to usually go for pure spam, pure dagger spam. But you can mix in later, that's fine. Mixing in a few bolas later, like if you're running in and trying to slow down the archers and scallops and boys and grizzly and try to actually get a kill by overmassing the enemy, it can be a pretty good choice later in the game, I think, to go for bolas. Meanwhile, the economy, you can see here, the enemy has gotten a grizzly, which is basically free roaming on this side, because the enemy got such a big economy advantage. And yeah, if you go into the later game, like, there's always good targets. Like, ducks aren't good targets for the maze, for the lance, I mean, but yeah, boys are pretty expensive, scouts are pretty expensive, bulkheads, archers pretty expensive. Yeah, like all of these things are decently expensive. So if you have one or two lance, when enemy gets a grizzly, you're gonna force them back and keep attrition up against grizzly, and you can get a sparrow if you want to specifically target the grizzly and force it back. Yeah. Just watch out for that air switch. Oh, you go for a dagger as a blueprint? I prefer to actually go for either mace or scalpel. I mean, daggers are so fast you can build them anywhere. So really, I'd recommend going for scalpels or mace as a unit to make here for the commander, because then you can just plop up, start making scalpels at the front line if you see boys, or you can make a mace to if you're expecting like heavy enemy raiders or want to push the enemy commander with your mace and a commander. So I'd recommend going for a yeah, either mace or scallop as your blueprint for an engineer commander. Yeah, so as we can see here, that the enemy was getting ahead in the early game a bit with economy, and yeah, they got some raiding in when they killed your first con, like killing the quill down here was pretty bad for you. You were sending out a raid that didn't really achieve something. You lost a lot of daggers up here and killed one mech. So if you instead have like kept one or two daggers to keep track of the enemy unit composition and try to keep the enemy busy, if you have the APM to do that, that would have been better to keep the enemy busy with a few daggers. And if the enemy is like very low on ducks, yeah, and trying to be very greedy, yeah, then you can send in more daggers. But usually you want to try to be greedy with hovers and make as many quills as you can get away with, because they're fast and easy to keep alive, and then you make daggers and lotus turrets to defend against the incoming ducks and archers. Ducks and archers aren't that dangerous. They're kind of low DPS, and like daggers in combination with lotus turrets will deal with them. And if you just keep track of them with your daggers, with your superior mobility, you will know exactly where the ducks are. And if you get the timing right and learn the timing, you will get up lotus turrets where you need them with your quills where you need them. So I quite often go for hovers on this map, and I'm not afraid to face Ampoth because I feel I have the mobility advantage with both the daggers and the quills. That makes me able to react defensively with the daggers and making lotus turrets just in time as the enemy arrives and keeping track of all their movements. So yeah, and then you can go into the late game making scalpels and maybe lances. And yeah, those are my tips for you. Um, yeah, good luck and have fun.